Yeah.
Later. Don't hate me if I'm not very good at this yet. This is my first time riding this baby. Actually, it's the second time riding this because I had to test drive it, you know. So I wanted to do some videos to basically explain why I'm starting out on an R6 rather than like a 250 or something like that. People always say, you know, if you have any motorcycle experience, it shouldn't really matter what size you get. But if you're starting out brand new, then you should really get a smaller bike. And a lot of them say dirt bikes don't really count as riding experience or anything like that. So this motovlogging thing is actually kind of hard. I don't even remember what I'm talking about. I'm so excited. I'm just riding this thing, you know? I just stalled it. Ah! My daughter was born there. Okay, so let's get back to topic. The reason I actually bought this R6, and I was thinking about it for a long time too. They always say if you haven't rode a motorcycle, you need to start on a lower motorcycle. If you never rode on the streets, because the dirt bike is different, or whatever, you know. I have a little bit of dirt bike experience. This isn't my first motorcycle. I had a Baja 90 when I was a little kid, which was my only motorcycle besides this one. I got some good use out of it in the backyard, you know. I never really took it out anywhere. But I've always been into bikes, motorcycles and stuff. I've rode a couple different dirt bikes before, but I've never had a street bike. I never ridden one. This is actually the first street bike I've ever ridden, and it's a 600. And I've seen so much dispute about should you start on a 600 or should you wait to get a 600 or whatever. And I wanted to basically document if it's okay, you know, to start on this bike. And I've heard so many people say they did, or they didn't, or they would, or, you know, they wouldn't. It really doesn't matter. As long as you've been riding a bike or you have rode a bike before, you know exactly how to use the clutch, you know exactly how to use the front brake, you know where the shifter is at, you know where the back brake's at. That's all that really matters. And to ride a 600 like this, you're not going to have power until it's all the way up here, which is like, you know, that's still in the low power where I was just at. Like, you got to really get it up there to get into the power where it starts getting scary. And it starts getting scary, like, you know, really high up there. So if you know how to drive a manual car or anything you have to shift really, then you should know where the power's at. You should know that when you get higher in RPMs, that's where you get more power. And I've always, you know, known that. I come from drifting and stuff like that, where you have to get the RPMs all the way up to get some power. And oh man, this bike though, whoa. Oh, this thing is amazing. Look at that. ready, and I knew that I knew how to handle myself, and that's the biggest problem is you may know how to ride a bike, but do you have self-control? So the first reason I'm buying this bike now and not like 5 years ago when I really, you know, I've always wanted one. Ever since I was a little kid, I wanted to ride motorcycles. I've always wanted to ride a bike. When I was a little kid, I had BMX bikes, and you know, I've always been in and out of bikes, dirt bikes and all that stuff. But I knew that if I was gonna get a street bike, I would have to be able to handle myself. I knew that I'd be doing 100 miles an hour, you know, just flying, doing some wheelies, you know, which it's where you do it, how you do it, and all that stuff. And I knew that I just wasn't responsible enough to do that. And I really wanted to make sure that I was ready. And you know, I really started actually getting ready, and I started, you know, knowing that I would be ready. And then one of my buddies died on his bike, so I was like, wow, you know, maybe I shouldn't get a bike. And it took me, you know, a long time after that. He died a long time ago, and I'm just now getting ready for it. Rest in peace, Josh Terry. You know, I've always wanted a bike, but I never was ready. I knew that I would never be ready until I had kids, basically. I knew, and that's a horrible thing to say too, because like people are like, oh, now you have kids, you need to stop riding. But you know, I didn't really care about my life enough to like avoid danger before then. You know, I would do whatever I wanted to do, no matter what the danger level would be. And now that I'm actually, you know, I'm 24 now, I have 2 kids, and you know, I know what my life is worth to them. You know, when my daughter smiles at me, I know that, oh, hey buddy, I know that I need to have limits, and I know that I need to not push my limits when I have kids, especially when it has to do with this big beast that's underneath me. It's crazy. Like this thing could kill anybody, and it's killed many people. And a lot of the problem is it has to do with the vehicles around you. I've drove for a long time, so I know the rules of the traffic and where to look, and I've watched a lot of videos on YouTube about you know, accidents. So I've done my research on motorcycle accidents, and you know, where they happen most, how they happen most, and all that good stuff. I'm fogging up. I put shaving cream in everything, and I'm still fogging up. What the hell? So yeah, basically why I got this 600 is because I knew, you know, I've rode a 450 dirt bike, and I mean, it had power. I knew that it had power, and I knew how to control that power without killing myself. So, whoa. Yeah, I knew how to control it without killing myself, and I knew that if I was gonna make stupid moves, it would affect me. Oh, I just got in a second again. I need to figure this thing out. Oh, there we go. So I've always kind of had that, you know, it's how you ride it, not what you ride. And I knew that you could kill yourself, and it was really hard for me to figure out, you know, did I want an R6 or did I want an R3? And those were my 2 choices. You know, I've always wanted a Yamaha ever since I was a little kid. The Yamahas have been my favorite, my most favorite. I love the blue. I just love Yamaha. Never been a huge fan of Honda. When I was a kid, I actually wanted a Kawasaki for a little bit, so maybe I'll venture into that a little bit. But Yamaha has just always been my favorite. I can't really explain it. It's just the name and the color, really. And they have good reviews. I like how they have more CCs in most of their bikes. I just love them. I can't really explain it. I would never be able to argue it. It's just personal preference on why the R6 over any of the other 600s. But the reason I chose a 600 was because I wanted to show you guys that it's possible, and I wanted to document it while it was happening. See, obviously you guys are probably picking apart my mistakes one by one. This ride has not been a very good one. as a first ride. I mean, obviously, it's my first ride on a motorcycle. So any tips that you guys can give me for you experienced riders, please feel free to do so. I mean, do it your way, whatever. I don't really care. I don't take things to heart. But I mean, you got to learn somehow. So I'm learning. I'm trying to learn how to rev match when I'm downshifting. I can do it with my car, but it's a little bit different, you know, obviously. So I'm really trying to get my my riding perfected. When I really get used to this bike, that's really all it's gonna be. Don't mind me, just getting used to this bike. I mean, I could have gotten on 1,000 and been comfortable, but my buddy actually had this bike, and he was trying to sell it because he has this wedding coming up. So I was like, hey man, you should let me pick that up. And he's like, all right. So I picked it up for my buddy, and here we are on my first R6 motorcycle, street bike, and I'm so happy that I can just freaking ride. Like, I can't even explain the feeling I have right now to just be riding instead of driving right now. What do you guys call them? Neutral? Not neutral. That would be stupid. Yeah, there's a name for it, and I just idle wheelies. Yeah, there we go. Idle wheelies. I like idle wheelies, but I don't like the wheelies going 120 miles an hour down the freeway. I'll probably eventually I'll learn how to do wheelies and, you know, different speeds of wheelies, but I don't want you guys to think that I'm gonna be that guy on the freeway, because we were just talking about my buddy that passed away on a bike, and it may not have been from a wheelie or anything like that, but I kind of want to give you guys a little bit of a backstory on that, because it really makes a difference, you know. He was riding one time. The last time I seen him, actually, he was riding, and I pulled up next to him in my car. We were going to a drift event, and he's like, yo, look at me. He's like pointing, like, check this out. And we're on the freeway. He pops it up, does a wheelie, and he's going fast, you know. He dips out in the wheelie, he's gone. And we got to the event, and I was like, dude, you need to stop fucking doing that. I was like, I love you, bro, and I get that it's fucking sweet. It's a really cool thing to do, but it's not worth it. It's not worth it to me. It's not worth it to you, you know. And he just kind of, he did it, you know. And he didn't stop. He wouldn't stop for me. I know that, but this is the last time I seen him. I was like, you're the next one of our friends that's gonna die because you're doing shit like this. And I don't want it to scare you or anything like that, but I don't want you to die, and none of us want you to die. And I would be very upset if you died, you know. And that was basically the last thing I ever said to him. And it's sad because, like, you know, I wish we could have hung out, you know, in between then, and, you know, made some more memories. But there's just, you know, time tells. If you're gonna die, you're gonna die. But what actually happened, I don't think he was doing a wheelie, but he was cruising down the road and somebody did a U-turn in front of him. And obviously there's no coming back from that. But anyways, oh, here. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I have no idea what I've been talking about, just like random shit, but I really want to talk to you guys about, like, you know, why I started on a 600, how I started on a 600, all this stuff. This is my first bike, first street bike, first motorcycle, bigger than a 60 dirt or a 90 dirt bike, and I just wanted to document it with you guys, and I'm pretty excited that I am. I really hope that I get to gonna keep making these videos. I hope I get some fan base. Some of you guys telling me what you want to see more. Hopefully some buddies that I can go ride with one of these days. You know, just all the good stuff. Anyways, I'm about home, so I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what you want to see more, whatever you guys want me to talk about. I know there's a whole bunch of skipped random weird subjects in here, but I'll work on that. I want to, you know, get more used to this bike before I start actually getting scripts going and talking about specific things. I really just wanted to get used to my bike a little bit. I think that, yeah, I just need to get used to this bike more and just riding. I mean, my senses are really high right now. Obviously, just looking around at cars and stuff, I'm not used to being on a bike out here. I'm used to being in a big truck that if somebody hit me, I would be fine. So it's a completely different story out here on a motorcycle, and I love it, man. I really do. I've always loved bikes. I've always appreciated bikes, and I'm just so excited to actually be on one right now. So the more I learn, I'll keep making videos and all that good stuff. Hopefully I'll get better, you know. Obviously I'll get better. I just need some practice. Let's get out of this traffic zone. I just needed some practice. I need to get a little bit better with my controls. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll catch you guys next time, alright? Peace.